something to really look forward to. And so for families with children and newborns who are eligible for that $1,000 really startup bonus, that seed in the account to get this investment started, it's an incredible thing that so many parents across the country can take advantage of now. And even if your child was born outside of the eligibility years, you can still sign up for an account at any time, and you can start that seed fund with your own investment. I also just want to point out how incredible this initiative is because it brings the private sector and the federal government together, which is something President Trump does best. He is a businessman at heart. He is running the federal government like it's a company, trying very hard to, cutting through the bureaucracy and the waste and the fraud. And this program, this initiative, is an example of seeing philanthropists and businessmen and women and entrepreneurs come together with those at the highest level of government to do what's right for American families. So also big thank you to Michael Dell and his wonderful wife and the Dell family who have been just a huge part of this, and all of the other successful Americans and companies who have generously donated. Two stats I want to point out, if I could. I like to bring the receipts when I know the press will be in the room. 38% of Americans don't own stock, but with these Trump accounts now, every single newborn child within the years of eligibility will be invested in the stock market. And I think that's a really beautiful thing. And I know Secretary McMahon at the Department of Education is working really hard to sort of upgrade our curriculum across the country, allowing states to lead first so that children can learn about the stock market, can learn about our economy, can learn about these basic life skills that they should be taught in our classrooms. This is something our children are going to be learning about for generations to come and benefiting from themselves. And then secondly, this statistic blew me away so much, I had the fact checkers fact check it again, but it's true. As parents, if we make maximum contributions to our child's Trump account, the projected value will be nearly $1.1 million by the time they are 28 years old. That is incredible. By the time your child is 28 years old, the Trump account could earn them up to $1.1 million. I'm 28 years old right now. I wish I had a Trump account back in 1997. So this is amazing.
Yes, indeed. And I think it's so interesting to look at this retroactively, understanding that for many Gen Zers in our country, financial literacy was never a part of our curriculum growing up. No one taught us how to file for our taxes. No one taught us how to purchase a home or to invest in the stock market.
Or even to fill out a job application.
Absolutely correct. So making sure that our children have this capacity is so, so important from the education side. But Cheryl, you talked about parenting as launching your children successfully into the world. Are you hopeful that new parents, and this generation of new parents in particular, has the chance to learn some financial literacy along the way with our kids through this program?
Well, I do. I think that this program is so helpful in that way because, like you're talking about when you were growing up, when I was growing up a long time ago, we didn't talk about money in our house. We didn't have any money in our house. My parents worked very hard and they were just getting by. But even to talk about finances, to talk about money was so stressful. And it was stressful because we just didn't have any. So to start an account that has money in it, that is going to be that child's account, is such a great way to introduce finances, financial literacy, financial independence, and a great time for parents to be able to talk about it with their children. And, we all know every child develops differently at different ages. So as a parent, you can keep connecting with your child when they're 8, when they're 10, when they're 12, and look at the account, look at what that interest is. And like you were talking about too, having parents, I don't want to say donate, that's not the right word, is it? Invest, contribute. And even like Kevin O'Leary was saying, once you start working, I started working when I was 14, to have an employer invest in that account is very exciting. And it is hopeful. It's the opposite of stressful. It is time to talk about your child's future with them. And I think that's that's just so great. And a child will already be emotionally invested in that because it's theirs.
Not only is this creating a major pendulum swing for the financial security of our children's future, which is so important in and of itself, but Rebecca, I think this also marks a huge cultural shift that we're seeing in response to what can only be described as the degradation of the American family we've witnessed throughout our lifetime. In the last several years, marriage rates have been at a historic low. We know our fertility rate as a country is at a historic low. Our vice president spoke last week at the March for Life here in D.C. about his goal and dream to have America make more babies, which they are putting their money right where their mouth is as a beautiful second family right now in office. Your organization does incredible work ensuring that moms feel that greater sense of service to our society and culture at large. Do you think we may see more moms and dads as a result of this program?
Yes. Short answer, yes. I'm so grateful that it's colliding at the time that it is, because the more involved I am getting into my Moms for America organization, it's just so on par with what I am doing in my children in raising them to be America-loving, learning from our founding fathers, learning how, if the more you learn about our founding fathers, you can't not be affected by their character that they all had. And instilling that in my children, starting at, my daughter, I have a couple books, but she's only 2. My 6-year-old is really, at the age, like you were saying, Cheryl, every age is different, and you kind of have to just figure out how you can relate to them at that point and how you can teach them things at that point, because then it changes. Like, as soon as you figure out your child, like, they're changing. But I think that it's just another way to invest in them and to love our country even more, and to be grateful and know the privilege that we have as Americans. My husband is born in Denmark, and so he has a very unique perspective. He's always had the American dream ever since he was my son's age. When he was a little kid, he wanted to move over here because he's a numbers guy as well, so he understood the opportunity. And so that is very exciting, and accountability as well. Accountability because how I grew up, my parents got divorced and my life was a mess, and it's fine, it made me who I am, but I didn't have any kind of foundation to build on. And in the beginning of my life, starting out, I always felt there was a hindrance, and that was I wasn't financially free to do anything. And even after I took out loans for college, I just, you have it on your credit, and then you can't, so it's just the fact that I get to do this for my children is really, it makes me emotional, because it's really setting them up for an amazing life. But accountability, I have a funny story to tell you. My 6-year-old's in debt right now. And when I told him that, he was like, "I'm in debt? What does that mean?" Because he thought it was okay to go on Amazon. He's not allowed to do that, but he went on Amazon and bought $800 worth of Pokemon cards. No. $800. And he's very much into soccer cards and Pokemon cards. And so when I actually told him about his Trump account, he was so excited. He already started thinking of the business that he would have. He said, "I don't want to go to school. I want to start a business with that money." He thought I said 3,000, but I said it's going to be more around 300,000. That's our goal. But anyway, he said, "I want to start now." And I said, "No, Mads, you can't do that." And he was like, "Why?" And I said, "Because you're in debt." And he's like, "Well, what does that mean?" I'm like, "That means that you can't do anything until you pay off that debt. You don't have money to invest in your business, because investing in your business, you have to go find the cards, keep them for a little bit, and then sell them. I guess that's how it works. I don't know." So anyway, so as a 6-year-old, for him to grasp that, he then knew. He quickly got it, and then he went to my husband and he told him, he's like, "Daddy, Mommy said I'm in debt," and all this stuff. So, but now we have a chart, and he is working off his debt to us. So, it starts so young. I mean, sometimes as a mom, I think, oh, well, I'll get there. Like, I'm going to teach them that, but they're too young. But it's really, you can really start now.
Anytime, yeah, and that's actually wildly important for parents with young children today. You mentioned passing on the American dream, and I think it's important for us to sit with that for a moment, because pretty much every pollster and media organization will tell you today that young adults no longer believe in the American dream. We think it's a disillusionment, it's no longer available to our generation, and yet behind us I see a beautiful headline that we're jump-starting the American dream for this next generation. That messaging is so important, Caroline, because I really do think that's setting the tone for culture at the top. It's not telling young people, figure it out for yourselves, we're going to continue borrowing from our country's financial future and throwing you under the bus as a process. To the contrary, we're flipping the script and the narrative in Washington through these Trump accounts by investing in the next generation and telling them you can be the champion of your own future, and generationally the American dream continues to survive. That's happening at the same time as a bit of a baby boom down the street at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue that you are participating in. Can you speak to the culture that is
We practice what we preach.
Yes, you do. Can you speak to that culture that is so pro-family and how that's manifesting in so many different policies like this one?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there is a very pro-family culture in the White House, and I credit the president to that, and also our great chief of staff, Susie Wiles, who really just encourages and supports all of us as young parents. There's several other young mothers in the West Wing and many young mothers across the whole White House complex, but there's also several young fathers whom I work alongside. And so there are always children, toddlers, babies in the West Wing in our offices, and it's totally normal. And I think that's a really beautiful thing, because we are able to not just work for the greatest president in our lifetimes, but also raise beautiful young families. And that opportunity has been provided to us directly by the president and our chief of staff, Susie. So thank you to both of them. But I think the fact that that culture in the White House exists is because the president understands that the essence and the foundation of the American dream is the American family. And I'm sitting and listening to Rebecca's stories of her household. You know, those will be core memories for your son. We all have core memories from our childhood. One of mine is when my mother brought me to TD Bank up in New Hampshire to start my very first bank account. I think I was probably 10 years old. And I remember bringing in my little purse and sitting with the bank teller and thinking, this is so cool. And that was my very first checking account, which was a joint checking account at the time with my parents, and watching that grow, and then working at our family's ice cream stand throughout the years. And these Trump accounts are going to really form core memories for parents and their children within their households, which will set up our country one household at a time for success. And in addition to these Trump accounts, these are a huge initiative, but it's just one small piece of the puzzle with respect to all President Trump is doing. If you look at the One Big Beautiful Bill in its entirety, the largest middle-class tax cuts for working families in American history. No tax on tips for service workers, no tax on overtime for our law enforcement officers and anyone who is working overtime to try to make ends meet. No tax on Social Security for our seniors. And in addition to prosperity, the other most important facet of the American dream is safety. And as a mother, there's nothing you want more than your child to be safe and healthy in this country. And thank you to your husband for all he's doing to make America healthy again. That's an amazing movement that the president promised and he delivered by appointing your husband and all of the great work they're doing at HHS. But I think safety and health and prosperity are really the three things as parents you want the most for your children. And if you look across the board at all of the policies this president is implementing, from Trump accounts to border security to working with local law enforcement to make our cities safe places for American families, removing dangerous, violent criminals from American streets, and again, making America healthy again. Just everything this administration is doing is restoring the American dream, and it's very exciting to be part of.
And it really does start inside the White House. Caroline and I, if you didn't know, met when we were interns for the White House in 2018.
We started from the bottom together, Isabel.
Life is crazy how it all works out. And back then, you know, it was classic D.C. work culture, I think still. It always is, whether you're on the Hill or the administration. You want to be the first one at work and the last one to leave, really prove yourself, and it's always been that way birthday in this city, but I can't tell you how many young families I hear from in the administration who are constantly told, it's 6 o'clock, what are you still doing here? Get home to your baby. You can finish this at home. That's so much more important in the legacy that we are building as an administration than any email you could be sending from here at the White House. And a huge component of that, Cheryl, that I'm constantly talking about with my audience in our show is this intergenerational family dynamic. There are so many new grandparents in America right now that are so excited about participating in their grandchildren's lives. My baby is the first grandchild on both sides, so we have very excited grandparents across the spectrum in our family. What do these accounts mean for you and your grandchildren, knowing that this is not just something we pass on to the next generation, but theoretically transforms our families and our economy moving forward into several generations?
Yes, well, it's like what we've all been talking about. I think as a grandparent, it's exciting to sit down with a 3-year-old, look at numbers, ask, what do you want when you're 18? What do you want when you're 25? What do you want when you're 30? And if you had $1,000 right now, what would you do with it? Which is a really fun game to play with a 3-year-old because it's probably candy or Pokemon. But even just to talk to them, to hear them, and then like we talked about, when they get older, they'll have different dreams and ideas. But as a grandparent, as a parent, it's exciting to be a part of that. And as a grandparent, it's nice to know you can put money into an account for your grandchild or your child. My sister is also here today, Dr. Becky Hines. We were talking about what's great about this account, because at some point when your child is maybe 12, and maybe your grandmother asks your 12-year-old girl what she wants for the holidays, and as a grandmother, you're going to get her that ugly sweater that you love to give. But maybe she'll say, what I would rather have from you is the $50 to put into my accounts because I'm saving, and this is what I want to do with the money. So it's a very exciting, empowering tool and learning tool. And so it's fun. It's like we said, they're invested emotionally and financially. So it's something that you can work together as a family. And we were talking about having a lot of siblings growing up, and I
asked you if it was crazy having 7, because it was crazy to be.
Yeah, because how many did you have? How many siblings?
The 5th of 7.
Yeah, 7.
Yeah.
So when you're in a big family like that and you're one of many children, a lot of times you don't have your own thing. You're waiting to get the hand-me-down dress from your sister or the old bike from your brother. But so to know that you have your own accounts and you have control over it, you get to decide what you're going to do with it. It's not your parents deciding for you. It's when you're 18, you get to decide. It's very, it gives someone a feeling of pride, a feeling of individuality and independence.
Absolutely, and it's a huge shift, I think, into that individuality that typically when we were growing up, the idea was you had a college investment account and you were expected to use that for tuition dollars. Rebecca, you said your son wants to start a business when he turns 18 and wants to make sure that he has the chance to be an entrepreneur. What an incredible foundation to be able to give him. When it comes to investing in your own American dream for teenagers now and children who will grow up with these accounts, do you think that's going to create more of an entrepreneurial spirit with this next generation?
Absolutely. I mean, going off what Cheryl was saying, you know, whether you're in a big family or a small family, just that that specific investment to them as an individual, you know, is it, you know, over and over and over, because kids are, it's repetition, right? And you know, just they can start to dream their dreams every time you bring that up to them. And there was something else I was going to say. I'm pregnancy brain.
We've all been there many times.
I hear that too.
But yeah, I see that in my son because, you know, but I really want to bring up the Moms for America organization because I really encourage everyone to visit the website if they can. If you are, they have a Grammy Grizzlies group too. So
Grammy Grizzlies, Cheryl. Sounds fun.
But it's, you know, it's like, it just gives encouragement. Actually, they talk a lot about health. I'm sorry, I know that's not the most flattering.
No, I enjoy the
Grammy
name.
Grizzlies.
It's a privilege. It really is. It's
No,
a
it
huge
is a privilege. I actually wanted to ask you that. Do they call you Grandma, or what do they call you?
They call me Share Bear.
Share Bear.
You are a
I
Grammy
love that.
Grizzly. That's perfect.
I am a bear. You're right.
Share Bear, that's so cute.
That's
I
powerful.
love it. But you know, I can't help but think of that when I think of the talks that I will have with my children for their investment account. You know, because it just goes back to the foundation of the dream that our founding fathers had. You know, and yeah, so.
Caroline, I'd be curious to get your thoughts on this. The media is here today, and you deal with media day in and day out with your job. I'm already starting to see an interesting reaction to the idea that we do have a fertility crisis and a marriage crisis, a family crisis, as some sort of partisan political talking point, that it only applies to one side of the political aisle today. And I'm sure there will be many who come out saying, because it's called the Trump account, this is not a good idea for our society or a positive investment in the next generation. What message would you tell the media and those who might be skeptical about this, that this really is about all of our families and about the entire American people?
Well, we will try our best to get fair coverage on these accounts, and I do think for the most part the coverage has been positive and fair because it is such an overwhelmingly positive and nonpartisan issue. However, it is unfortunate that most Democrats on Capitol Hill voted against the piece of legislation that signed these Trump accounts into law. So remember that, Americans, who's voting for these Trump accounts and investments and who is not. But I would just add that it is unfortunate, the bias in the legacy media. We do fight it every day, but I would encourage everyone who's here to please cover this fairly and honestly, because this is an incredible initiative that really has the potential and the power to change lives. And that's why the president is showing up here today. We've already done a few Trump account events with him over at the White House, but he wanted to come in just a few minutes, I believe, to speak with all of you directly about this again, because it is such an incredible achievement for our country and for our children. And it's something that, to Cheryl's point, red or blue or nonpartisan, I think all Americans can and should be able to celebrate, and that includes those in the media.
One more logistical question I had for you, Caroline, about the program is something that really I haven't seen any coverage about in the media at this point. We know that if your baby is born within a certain window, they'll have the $1,000 bonus, which is a fantastic investment in their future. Parents can contribute up to $5,000 annually from a tax-deductible standpoint, which is amazing. But employers are also eligible to contribute to these accounts, and I haven't seen anyone talk about that. Can you share a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so just to go back to the eligibility, if your child was born January 1st, 2025 through 2028, you're eligible for that $1,000 sort of seed fund to get the Trump account up and running from the United States government, and then an additional $5,000 each year contributed by yourself or others into the account, maximum $5,000. Employers are also allowed to contribute, which I think is an incredible thing for businesses, small, medium, and large. And it's something that I believe, you know, as a young mother myself and having a lot of friends who work in the private market and private sector, employers should use as a recruiting tool. I mean, how wonderful when you are trying to hire the best and brightest talent coming out of our colleges and universities to really use this as a recruiting tool for these young people who want to work at these big companies and corporations. You can tell them, we'll invest in you, and not just you, but also your future and your children. So again, this is just a beautiful example of President Trump knowing that the private sector often works best. And while he's the head of the entire United States federal government, finding ways to work with entrepreneurs and businessmen and women who are enabling the American dream. And those great men and women should not be demonized. They should be celebrated, and they should have a partnership with this administration and administrations to come as well.
Cheryl, we've talked a couple of times about your husband's effort to make America healthy again, which we are so deeply grateful for. And I'm curious to get your perspective on financial security as an element of that. Health certainly is multifaceted when it comes to what we eat, the pharmaceuticals that we take, our mental health and spiritual health. But what will this mean for the next generation of Americans?
I think it really speaks to mental health. Like I said, when I was younger, and when you don't have money, it is very stressful. And it's hard to talk about. You internalize it. You oftentimes don't, if you're a parent, you're not sharing that with your children. So this is a positive way to talk about finances, to plan for the future, to have a peace of mind. Even as a parent, I could probably name 50 parents who have kids who said, the day they're born, I'm going to start an account. But the day they're born, you're already working 24 hours a day, and that may not have happened. And so for a parent, it gives you a peace of mind that there is an account there for that child, only for that child. So it brings you a sense of calm. You're talking about money in a positive way, which brings you some mental health ease. So I do think when you're talking about MAHA and you're talking about a healthy lifestyle, that also includes finances, because you can take care of yourself all day and eat right and exercise, but if you are under so much stress because you don't know how to make financial decisions, it will affect your health. So I think this program is, like we're saying, it's bipartisan. It's not about politics. It's about children and families, and I think it's really a great program.
In our last few minutes together, I would love to switch gears a bit as we await the President's arrival here to just ask what this is going to mean for moms and what legacy you all are leaving as a mom for your family. Parenting has been so demonized in so many different ways in our culture throughout our lifetime, and I think young women especially have been told such negative things about the experience of raising the next generation, of experiencing pregnancy, and all of the beautiful things that come along with that. We have two pregnant moms here on stage today, and very busy women. We're all working women in our own way, but I think we would all say our family is certainly the most beautiful thing that has ever happened to our lives. So if you can share a bit about what that means for you and how you will encourage the next generation to experience that for themselves as well, that would be phenomenal. Rebecca, we can start with you.
Thank you. So I never really knew who I was until I became a mom, and I know that may sound corny, but it's absolutely true, and I didn't know what I was capable of either until I became a mom. And going back to what Cheryl was saying, I will testify on that. That was me in my 20s and even into my early 30s. Mostly my 20s when, you know, you should be like, this is me, it's my life, I'm, you know, going out into the world. But I didn't have that. So, but yeah, it's motherhood for me has been a constant refining process, and it's never done. Like God does so many things through my children, to me as a person, and you never know how many faces selfishness has until you have children. And you're like, I'm starving and I'm tired. When is it about me? But, you know, you're always putting them first. And it's the biggest sense of purpose I've ever felt. And it's the biggest dump of joy at the end of the day. And I've done a lot of cool things in my life, but there's absolutely nothing that I can compare it to. It's the most rewarding thing, and it's also has a very, there's a stigma attached to it. Like, your life will be over if you have kids, or you're not going to be yourself anymore. But that's right, you're going to be someone better. You're going to be someone way better, and you're going to meet a part of yourself that you were destined to be. And again, I don't want to sound so corny, but it's really by God's design.
Yeah.
You know, we are the life givers. We are the heartbeat of the home, and we're the heartbeat of the nation. And we are responsible. We have the privilege to have the responsibility of investing in little humans that love you so much and putting them out into society. And if we just get back to that, I think that is another, part of the equation in America. And I just want to point just one thing, like George Washington, his mother was, you can go throughout his journals and things, and he loved his mother. His mother did everything to, create who he was really. And I didn't even know this. He was about to join the British Royal Navy. Did anybody know that? And she was like, I don't think so. You're going to pray and you're going to ask for God's direction. And so he did. And so anyway, that, knowing that about our history, I think is very important for moms as well. And there's just so many people, not just in America, but around the world that had, such a big impact in shaping world's history and American history. Yeah,
I don't think any of us could have said it better ourselves. So very powerful. Thank you all so much for your role in serving our country in different ways and serving your beautiful families. And thank you again to President Trump and to our Treasury Department for this incredible investment. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Sorry I can't be there in person with such a tremendous gathering of leaders and philanthropists. This first year under Donald Trump's leadership has been nothing short of remarkable. We've never seen a president accomplish so much so quickly for the American people, and Trump accounts are yet another great example of that progress. We believe this is a smart, forward-looking way to invest directly in young children and create opportunity that lasts for generations. I want to recognize Michael Dell and everyone in the room today who is helping make programs like this possible. At my company, Continental Resources, we want to lead by example. We encourage other companies to join us in working alongside the government to implement similar programs. We plan to do this in every state in which we operate, doing our part to give back and further build upon this program and leave a lasting legacy for the next generation. Thank you, President Trump, for your outstanding leadership.
Hi, I'm Ryan McInerney, the CEO of Visa. Today marks another important step forward in what has been a shared and unifying goal: helping Americans build long-term financial security for the next generation. Visa has been a supporter of this effort since the beginning. With this bold initiative, the administration is truly investing in the American economy, helping families fund their kids' long-term financial security. Visa was proud to be among the first companies to announce plans to incorporate Trump accounts into our employee benefit plans. Additionally, Visa is going to work with our bank partners to enable millions of Americans to use their Visa credit card rewards to fund Trump accounts. It's a simple and powerful way to turn rewards into savings to help families save for their children's future through everyday spending. Through this new program, we are playing a part in this important effort to connect more people to the global economy, unlocking another channel for families to support their children and ensuring the next generation has a stake in our country's future prosperity.
I would like to thank President Trump and the administration on the launch of the new Trump accounts. This is a simple and powerful way to give American kids a great financial head start. IBM is proud to build on the foundation that you are providing. In addition to the $1,000 investment from the U.S. Treasury, IBM will contribute an additional $1,000 for U.S. citizen children of IBM employees born between 2025 and 2028. IBM will add an additional $1,000 contribution when parents contribute $4,000 within 24 months of their child's birth. Combining the government's investment with IBM and parental contribution, a child's account could start with $7,000 or more by age 2. Without any additional contributions, This balance will generate tens of thousands of dollars by age 27, a great advantage towards education, housing, or launching a career. Thank you, President Trump. IBM is proud to support this initiative and help build brighter financial futures for the next generation of Americans.
Mr. President, Secretary Besson, thank you for allowing me to participate in your historic summit today. At Broadcom, we focus on the long term. We create technology that powers the modern world, from the chips in our iPhones to the AI in our data centers. But we know that the most critical element for America's future isn't silicon. It's the financial security of our next generation. The Trump Account program is a visionary step towards making every American a shareholder in our nation's prosperity. It ensures that as our economy grows, driven by the very AI and semiconductor breakthroughs we develop, every child will have a front row seat to that value creation. So today, I'm proud to announce that Broadcom is joining this mission. For every child born to our U.S. employees in 2026 through 2028, Broadcom will match the federal government's contribution with an additional $1,000 deposit into their Trump account. Combined with the President's generous grant, this will give the children of our employees a good start to building their own foundation for a bright future. And by doing this, we aren't just matching a contribution, we are investing in the future engineers, entrepreneurs, and leaders who will keep America the most innovative nation on earth. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The Trump Account's launch will resume momentarily.
Please, 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 honey, please, yeah, oh yeah, I love you so, baby, you did me wrong.
plays a mean pinball. He stands like a statue, becomes part of the machine, feeling all the bumpers, always playing clean, plays by intuition, the digit counters fall, that deaf, dumb and blind kid sure plays a mean pinball. He's a pinball wizard, there has to be a twist. A pinball wizard's got such a submarine. How do you think he does? I don't know. What makes him so good? Ain't got no distractions, can't hear no buttons and bells, don't see no lights flashing, plays by sense of smell, always gets a replay, never seen him fall, that deaf, dumb and blind kid sure plays a mean pinball. I thought I was somebody table king, but I just handed my pinball crown to the king. Even on my favorite table, he can't beat my best. His disciples lead him in, and he just does the rest. He's got crazy flipper fingers, never seen him fall. That deaf, dumb and blind kid sure plays a mean pinball.
You shake my nerves and you rattle my brain. Too much love drives a man insane. You broke my will, oh what a thrill. Good in this your record should quit balls of fire. I let that love all I thought it was funny. You came along and you
Ladies and gentlemen, the 45th and 47th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. 'Cause
All right, let's get down to business. That's enough of that. But how good is Lee Greenwood? He was with us right from the beginning. First time I walked onto the stage, I heard that song. I liked it. I said, let's use it. That was 10 years ago, and he's been with us all the way. Fantastic guy. There's never been a man that made so much money from one song ever, and I'm happy about it. But I'm delighted to be back in the beautiful Mellon Auditorium, a wonderful family. Tim Mellon is a great guy. He's the current version of the Mellons, a fantastic person. To celebrate a thrilling new milestone for America, the first generation of Trump account children. Trump account children. For the first time ever, we're going to give every newborn American child a financial stake in the future, head start at life, and a fair shot at the American dream, something people don't talk about so much, at least not for the last 4 years they haven't been, but now they're talking about it big. This last period of time, it's been unbelievable. You see what's going on with our economy, the tremendous investments that's been made in our country. We have over $18 trillion coming in. The most, I think, was 3. That was 10 years ago, another country, not even our country. We have $18 trillion, and we have thousands of businesses being built all over the country, and hundreds of massive plants, so big, car plants, AI plants. With the support of the men and women here in this beautiful room, over the next 15 years, we're going to put $3 to $4 trillion of wealth into the hands of young Americans who otherwise would have really started out with nothing. It's really an amazing thing because it gives young children that start out with really nothing, and it gives them, boy, it's more money than anybody could imagine. From their standpoint, they'll have a real start in life, and that's why decades from now, I believe the Trump accounts will be remembered as one of the most transformative policy innovations of all time. And I've done a lot of them. The tax cuts, we've done a lot of them, more than I think anybody. And I think this is going to be one of the most outstanding. Last summer, I signed the great, big, beautiful bill delivering. It made this possible, too. It actually made this possible. Without it, we wouldn't have been able to do this. Delivering the largest tax cuts in American history, including no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security for our great seniors. And, you know, we did another thing. When you buy a car now, you get a deduction on the interest payment if you borrow money. So think of it. Rich people get so many deductions. I'm the king of deductions. I love deductions. But people, middle-income people, never had a deduction before. Now they're getting a deduction on interest. They buy a car. That's going to have a huge impact on the automobile. By the way, there's one proviso. It has to be made in America. If the car is made in another country, no thank you. But they're all going to be made in America pretty soon because we have factories coming in from Canada, Mexico, Japan, Germany, all over Europe. They're all coming here to make their cars because they don't want to pay tariffs. Very simple. It wasn't very complicated. You'll see those numbers starting to produce. That's why you see these massive construction numbers, and soon when those things start opening, you're going to see employment and you're going to see wealth creation for middle-income people like you've never seen before. Every single Democrat in Congress voted to raise taxes on hardworking citizens. Their whole campaign was raise taxes. I've never heard of it before. All my life I grew up, and I hear politicians, we will cut taxes. This is the only group I've ever seen, we're going to raise your taxes. No wonder they lost. Actually, there were other reasons also. But together with the majorities in the House and Senate, we overcame their obstruction, and we put more money into the pockets of every working American than anyone thought even imaginable. Perhaps no provision of the great, big, beautiful bill will prove more consequential than Trump accounts. Under this program, the U.S. government will automatically create a tax-free investment account for every newborn American child, something that nobody really would have even thought of. There were some brilliant people that thought of it for a long time. They're here with us today. We're going to introduce a couple of them. but nobody really, I mean, I've had friends at the top people in business, they came up to me, whose idea was this? This is account. 100,000, it can even grow up to past $300,000 per child. And we think most likely, the most likely case is in the 200,000, 300,000 range. The size and scale of this wealth will dwarf all government programs ever created to benefit America's youth. There's never been anything like this. That's why everybody's talking about it. Even really people that truly hate me are making this investment. One person hates my guts. He put $1 billion into it. I said, you must like this program a lot because you can't stand me. I said, I do, but I do like you more than you think. They liked me more in the last year than they liked me before. Although we had a great first term, we can't forget that. We have the greatest economy in the history of our country, but this is blowing it away. So every president, thank you. Every president in modern history has left our children with nothing but debt. But under this administration, we're going to leave every child with real assets and a shot at financial freedom. We'll ensure that Americans don't just end their lives with a nest egg, but instead all Americans will begin their lives with a beautiful nest egg. There's never been anything quite like this. I want to express my tremendous gratitude to a very special couple who believed so strongly in this vision right from the beginning that they personally donated $6.25 billion. That's $6,250,000,000. Even the 250 is a lot of money when you think. I mean, you know, Nikki, do you hear that money? That's big even compared to rapping, all the money she makes. She's hearing a number like that. She'll say, how many songs do I have to make to catch that? But amazing, amazing thing, $6,250,000,000 to fund Trump accounts for an additional 25 million children aged 10 and under. And that's Michael and Susan Dell, two incredible people. Where are you, Michael? Where's Michael? Stand up, Michael. What a great guy. What a great guy. You know, I tell you, he didn't do it for his business. He did it, I guess, probably would have been better off not to. That's a lot. But you know what? I hope everybody goes out and buys Dell computers. My son, I told you, Barron, he loves that computer. I don't know what the hell you're doing to it, but he likes it. But I just want to thank you very much, and Susan. It's unbelievable, really unbelievable what you've done. So Michael and Susan made this donation in recognition of America's 250th anniversary because there's no better way to honor America's history than to invest in America's future. That's what they did. And this is perhaps the largest, one of the largest certainly, but perhaps the largest private donations of all time. That's a lot, $6,250,000,000. And somebody did say that. A friend of mine, very rich, he's going to put up $100 million. And he said, geez, you know, think of it, the 250 that Michael has is a lot more than mine. And I haven't even talked about the $6 billion. But anyway, it's amazing when Michael can start off with very little money and build a fortune where he can, you know, routinely make such a payment and investment in the youth of our country. Michael, you're great. Thank you, man. Thank you. And I also want to say hello to and thank some very special people that have been with my administration and really become friends of mine. On occasion, I have little arguments, but generally, I would say really good. And who's doing, and start off with a man who's doing a phenomenal job, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. Scott, thank you very much, Scott. And he loved this right from the beginning, Scott, right? He saw this and he said, wow, what a great idea that is. This is, hundreds of thousands of dollars by the time they reach 18, but we can go 21. They can keep it in longer. But he saw this right from the beginning. He said, wow, this is great. And we have some other ideas that will be great, but this was one that just hit everybody. This was an easy one to think about. And again, that bill allowed us to do this. Otherwise, can you imagine trying to get this approved by Democrats and Republicans? Let's get together. We got it done. Also, a man who's made your life much easier, because those of you that are building plants and equipment so you can give your money, ultimately you're giving your money away anyway, no matter how much you make. But he's made it a lot easier. Approvals for big plants used to take 20 years, 25 years, and then you'd get rejected, actually. You'd go 20 years environmentally and they'd reject you. You finally, if I think of it, a guy starts young, he starts an approval process. By the time he's middle-aged, they take a vote and he loses. It's not worth it. But we have a man that's getting these things done in a matter of weeks. And the biggest plants in the world are being built right now, and he's getting them done fast. He's getting electric plants built so that we can buy them. They're paying for them. They want to pay for them. So they can open up their AI plants and they can open up their automobile plants, and lesser so. The automobiles, believe it or not, take much less electricity. You're going to have to tell me why you need so much electricity to create information. I said, what's your primary product? Information. Oh, I see. Information. It better be damn good information for the kind of money. But Lee Zeldin is a star, and he has been incredible. Thank you, Lee. And, I have to say this. Scott and I were talking about it. So Lee went out to California after the fire, which would have never happened if they would have let the water flow from the Pacific Northwest, which everybody's been telling them, including me. Now I just opened it up. We literally sent in the military to open it up. But if they would have let, you wouldn't have had the fires, because you would have had a little thing called the old-fashioned way, water in the fire hydrants, as opposed to empty fire hydrants. You would have had water, and most of the houses had the sprinklers on top. No, there was no water in their sprinkler in their living room. All those fires wouldn't have started. But they did start, and I will say that Lee, the most difficult permit was Lee. I went there a couple of days after the fire, met so many people on the streets who were, in many cases, fairly wealthy people, some very rich people. Some of the best houses in California burned down. And I said to them, so what do you want to do? They said, sir, we want to start immediately. Well, we'll get you permits. Now, the hardest permit, Lee, was the federal permit. Is that right? He got everything done in 20 days, right? The whole thing? Is that a correct statement or less? 20 days. So he got everything done, 100% ready to go. And I went for a meeting, and this mayor, who's a grossly incompetent person, she said, we're going to try and have the permits done within 2 years. Remember that? I got into an argument. I said, you mean within 2 days, right? She said, no. And I'm meeting all these people as I'm walking along the streets with the fire departments and the policemen, and they're all devastated. They're still smoldering. But they weren't even allowed to go in their property. The Environmental Protection Agency local said, don't go on your property, okay? We said, it's okay, don't worry about it. Any problem is gone. Any problem is burned. Any germs are burned. They're burned. They were burned. Nobody's ever seen anything like it, but all so unnecessary that it happened. But we got it all done in 20 days, the whole place. And yet now, still, more than a year later, they don't have permits. Almost nobody is building. So I haven't told this to Lee Zeldin yet, but I'm going to put you in charge of getting permits. I think we're going to override the local authorities, because they're never going to have it. And when I was told that there's a provision where you can override the local authority to get things done, because it's really, to me, it's a national emergency. What they've done to these people is horrible. It's just horrible. And they'll still vote Democrat. Can you believe it? After all, it's just, they get used to it. Although I must say we converted many. We'll probably convert a lot more. But I just want them to get into their houses. And I don't want a big section of the area built into low-income housing. They want to put low-income housing right smack in the middle of it. And that's not the American dream, you know? You didn't do that. And low-income housing is great. I built a lot of low-income housing, but you don't put it there. This is one of the richest neighborhoods in the world, and we're going to let those people. And I recommend it strongly that everybody gets the approval, immediate approval to build a house, and you give them a 10% bonus so they can build a house 10% larger than they had before if they want, for all the suffering they've been caused. So they can build a little bit bigger house. So, Lee, if you want, will you accept the job? He's under a lot of stress. Okay? All right? Override those people. Those people are incompetent. Between the mayor and the governor, they're incompetent. They'll never get approved. They'll never get approved. So do whatever you can, Lee. There's a provision that you're allowed to do it, and I'll sign it in 2 seconds, frankly. It'll never happen. I also want to introduce a man, Frank Pasigno. Now, if you met Frank and if you knew Frank, he's quiet, but he's actually a stone-cold killer. He was one of the biggest people in business. He would have been sitting with you. In fact, now he's got a better seat because he's working for the government. He's the head of a lot of things, but the job he's done in this country is great, and he's working on Social Security and a thing called the IRS. He's working with Scott on both of them, really, but the IRS in particular. And he is a fantastic man. Where are you, Frank? Took the biggest pay cut in history. He went from being paid $35 million a year to being paid about $35 a year. I think you may have taken the biggest pay cut in history. He'd be close. He'd be one of the top 5. Because a few people have done that. A few billionaires have sort of left. But Frank has gone from one of the most successful people. He worked with Jamie Dimon. I don't think Jamie likes me too much nowadays, but that's okay. I never minded that. But Frank, you are fantastic, and you're doing a great job. We appreciate it. Thank you. And thank you to the family. The director of National Economic Council, a man who's in the news a lot. You know, my only problem is I don't want to lose him. I will tell you that he's working from a big deficit because I don't want to lose him. He's so good. Kevin Hassett. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Kevin. A friend of mine, a senator who has been unbelievable. She's a tremendous woman, married to a great football player. Her husband is a massive man. This guy, he played in the NFL, I guess, for 11 years. He was top-of-the-line player. I met him. I said, that's not a normal situation. Look at this guy. This guy was seriously powerful, big, and he's as nice as he is big. And she is one of our best senators, Senator Katie Britt. Thank you, darling. From Alabama. I love Alabama. We love Alabama. Marsha Blackburn is an incredible person. Unfortunately, she's running for governor. She's running for governor of Tennessee. I'd love her not to. I begged her. I said, Marsha, we don't want to lose you in the Senate. But I have to say they're lucky. They're lucky to get you because you are a talent and a great person, and you've been with me all the way, and I appreciate it. And you're a very special person. Marsha, stand up, please. And a senator who's a friend of mine, you wouldn't believe that because we went through a rough campaign together. It was nasty. We got along so well, and we actually did joint rallies. Can you believe it? He wanted to get some of the action, so he's smart. He said, would you do a rally with me? But we did joint rallies, and the press used to say, will you ever, start fighting? I said, don't worry, it'll come. He said the same thing. Don't worry, it'll come. He's a very tough guy, very brilliant guy. In fact, when I said, because I had never gone into a debate before officially. My whole life was a debate, but I'd never debated before officially. And I said, let me find out about my competition. Who are these people? Because many of them, they were senators and mostly senators and governors. And I said, well, why don't we start with this guy named Ted Cruz? Let me, he was the best student at Harvard, #1 in his class. He was the best student at Princeton or something. And he was the national debate champion for 3 years. And I said, well, I don't like that. I didn't know that. I don't like that. And he was a very good debater, I will tell you that. He's a smart guy, But I'll never forget, because he was the first one I looked at. I just joined the ranks of politics, and the first famous, that was the Rosie O'Donnell. Remember that? Only Rosie O'Donnell? Ireland, you can keep her. Ireland has done us tremendous. The head of Ireland said, "Are all your people this way? We don't want that." But Ted Cruz has one thing that I like. If I ever have problems, because it's hard to get people approved, he's a brilliant legal mind. He's a brilliant man. If I nominate him for the United States Supreme Court, I will get 100% of the vote. The Democrats will vote for him because they want to get him the hell out. And the Republicans will vote for him because they want to get him the hell out, too. Where's Ted? Where are you, Ted? And with all of that being said, he's a great guy, too. He's a great guy. We've become friends, and he's a very effective person, too. Thank you, Ted, very much. The man knows more about tax than anybody that I know. Jason Smith, Congressman, wonderful person. Thanks, Jason. Thank you, Jason. Great job. Idaho Governor Brad Little, terrific guy. Thank you, Brad. Georgia Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones, who hopefully will be the governor of Georgia very shortly. They have a big race. He's leading by a lot in the polls. He was outstanding as a lieutenant governor. He's great everywhere, and I've endorsed him fully, so I don't want to, do anything that you don't know about. I have given him my complete and total endorsement. Burt Jones, where are you, Burt? Thank you, Burt. Great guy. Chief Design Officer of the United States, Joe Gebbia. Joe, thank you. Great idea. Great ideas. Also, we have Mr. Wonderful, Kevin O'Leary. I like Kevin O'Leary. Where's Kevin O'Leary? Come on. Kevin, it's so nice. He's with me 90% of the time, but when he's with me, he's really with me. Great. And we got the TikTok deal done. Who the hell thought we could do that, right? I know. I wish he wanted to buy TikTok so much, and I would have done it, but his price was slightly lower. Slightly. He's fantastic. What a good, you're an entertainer, businessman, you had the whole quality, so I appreciate. I know what you did. Having done The Apprentice, I see you on television, you have what it takes, right? So I appreciate it, and thanks for all the nice things you do. And Cheryl Hines, where's Cheryl? Wow. Married to a very, very powerful, important man. And I said, I'll tell you, Bobby, she's strong. I watched her in an interview. I said, Bobby, you keep him in line, don't you, huh? She said, yes, I do. She's got no choice. He's doing a great job, and so are you. Yeah, he's doing a great job. He's doing a very different kind of a job, too, and he's doing things that people have wanted to do for a long time. And they didn't have the courage, so say hello to Bobby, okay? We're also pleased, my daughter, she went crazy when she heard that this was happening. I want to go. She happens to be in the wrong state right now for that, but when she heard that there's a certain person that's here who's the greatest and most successful female rapper in history, Nicki Minaj. Come on. And, and Nicki makes a lot of cash. Not as much as Michael Dell. Not quite. Not as much. But that's okay. But Nicki makes a lot of money, and she's generously stepping up. She's investing hundreds of thousands of dollars in Trump accounts to support the children and really the children of her incredible fans. That's great. Focus on that. Why should you give to somebody else's fans? Give to your fans. I like that. But and I just think she's great. I've been hearing so much over the years, because I didn't know Nicki, and I've been hearing over the years she's a big Trump supporter and a Trump fan, and she took a little heat on occasion. Her community isn't necessarily, I tell you, we did pretty damn well with that, with your community, as we say. But Nicki has been an unbelievable supporter. She gets almost as much as Mr. Wonderful over here. He's been another one that's been so good. But I'd like to ask you to come up, Nicki. Come on up. Come on. She's been such a great supporter, and a great supporter of Trump accounts. And I said, I am going to let my nails grow, because I love those nails. I'm I'm going to let those nails grow. She's so good. She's been MAGA. What can I say? She's been with us all the way. Right, Alex? She's been with us all the way. And just want to thank her. And it wasn't so easy. For you, it was easier, right? You want to come up? You want to come up? Mr. Wonderful, come on up here. You've been terrific. Come on up.
Hello. Well, I don't know what to say, but I will say that I am probably the president's #1 fan. And that's not going to change. And the hate or what people have to say, it does not affect me at all. It actually motivates me to support him more. And it's going to motivate all of us to support him more. We're not going to let them get away with bullying him and, the smear campaigns. It's not going to work, okay? He has a lot of force behind him, and God is protecting him. Amen.
Thank you.
On behalf of all the entrepreneurs in America, I'd like to thank you, Mr. President, because we create 72% of the jobs. Companies 5 to 500 employees, and all we care about is policy. We love policy, pro-business policy, and these accounts are fantastic for independence and support. I thank you very much. It's all about the entrepreneur, and I think you know that, sir.
Thank you very much. Well, that was great. A little interlude. I don't know. That's better than getting Scott Bessent up. Thank you both very much. Two terrific people. When Trump accounts officially launch on July 4th of this year, every parent will be able to activate their accounts and access the funds at the trumpaccounts.gov. So it's all set up, all ready to go. It's beautiful. The site is beautiful. On that glorious day, we also expect to have commitments from generous private individuals in all 50 states, and they'll be making additional contributions for children in their own states. And already, legendary investor Ray Dalio has pledged to adopt the entire state of Connecticut. That's pretty good, Michael. And thank you very much, Ray. Great legend. And today, one of the original advocates of this program has agreed to adopt his home state of Indiana, Brad Gerstner. And Brad's here someplace? Where's Brad? Come on. I think Michael and Brad, would you come up here, please? Come up here. I mean, this isn't exactly Mr. Wonderful and Nikki, but I think they might be worth more money than Mr. Wonderful, right? These guys are worth a lot of money. But Brad is donating, listen to this, $250 to Trump accounts for all children under 5 in Indiana. So every children, all the children under 5, $250, and he'll be donating tens of millions of dollars more in matching contributions to millions of children all across the country. He's going to make a massive donation already. We know what it is. Brad is not only one of the most successful business people, he's the founder of the Invest America Foundation, and he's been working on this idea for years, and he was the one. He went over to see Michael. Michael loved it, and those two were a hell of a team, along with Mrs. Dell, who's been so great, Susan. I also delighted to report that dozens of major employers have signed up to add the Trump account contributions to their employee benefit packages, including Uber, Schwab, Charter Communications, and many, many others. And just today it was announced that Intel, NVIDIA, Broadcom, IBM, Steak and Shake, Coinbase, Continental Resources, and Comcast have all signed up for really big contributions. So I want to thank them. I want to have you two guys come on up. Would you say a couple of words? Brad and Michael, would you say a couple of words? That's a fantastic. Only Indiana. You can't do bigger. We love Indiana, but you know, how about Indiana, Iowa? No, we appreciate it. Big numbers. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, 4 years ago, we set off on a journey to reconnect every child in America with the American dream. This president ran on a Main Street agenda that too many people had been left out and left behind. And his articulation of no tax on tips, that doesn't help rich folks. That helps those left out and left behind. No tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. And when Ted Cruz authored the Invest America Act in the Senate, and Michael Dell partnered with me to bring the private sector to bear on this, we had the opportunity that this president was willing to sign. He immediately understood the impact. That this wasn't about the wealthy folks in America. This was about the 50 million American families who will be lifted up and reconnected to the American dream, because this is now the law of the land. Forevermore, every child in America, from rural Missouri to rural Indiana, from Trenton to Compton, is going to start off life with an investment account at birth, seeded with $1,000, where they privately own NVIDIA and Microsoft, all the greatest companies in this country, right? Not dependent on government, independent from government. Not more socialism. The answer to more socialism is more capitalism. This makes every child in America a capitalist from birth, and it would not have happened without the leadership of our Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, without the leadership of the Speaker and Ted Cruz in the Senate, but most importantly, and every business leader in America will tell you this, for too long they had no access in Washington to the White House. People didn't want to hear their ideas. This president is voracious in his desire to hear from America's leaders about how to make America better. This is citizen democracy at its best. An idea that started around a kitchen table in Silicon Valley makes its way to this day. I'm humbled and honored to be here, and I'm grateful for your leadership.
Thank you, Mr. President. As you heard from Brad, the fact that this bill got passed itself was a miracle, and it creates a platform for communities, for families, for corporations, for philanthropists to add to these accounts. And in not too many years, essentially every child in America will have savings invested in the greatest companies in this country. And that will change the face of this country over the next 10, 20, 30 years. We couldn't be more excited about this and the opportunity to make a difference. The best investment a country can make is in its people, especially in its children. And this creates an incredible platform for that to occur at enormous scale. And we're excited to see it all come together. Thank you all so much.
Those are two fantastic people, I can tell you that. I want to give a very special thanks to some of the CEOs here this morning. Vlad Tenev of Robinhood, what a job he's done. Where's Vlad? What a job you've done. Young guy. Nice young guy, too. Arjun Sethi of Kraken. Arjun, thank you very much, wherever you are. Thank you. Anthony Noto of SoFi Technologies. SoFi. Thank you very much, Anthony. These are the ones you read about, and Bill Ackman is here, Pershing Square, and Hock Tan of Broadcom, and so many others that if I name them, we'll be up here all day. But I just want to say that what a job you've all done. Incredible job. Everybody, just about everybody in this room. Not everybody, I'm not in love with everybody, but a couple of them I don't like very much. But if they're here, I'm starting to like them a lot better because they're here for a very good reason. I'm officially calling on all employers all across America to follow the lead of many of these amazing companies and make matching Trump account contributions to benefit for the American worker, and they're going to benefit the American worker so much. This morning, I'm also pleased to announce that Visa is creating a brand new platform which will allow credit card holders to deposit their cashback rewards directly into Trump accounts. That's a big deal. Visa, thank you. Where's Visa? The head of Visa. Thank you very much, Visa. These initiatives could not come at a better moment because there's never been a better time to invest in the United States of America than right now. Who knew it would have happened this fast? I inherited a mess. We were a country that was laughed at a year and a half ago. We were laughed at. Now we're the hottest country anywhere in the world. Nobody even close. So, who knew this was going to take place this quickly? Right, Michael? I didn't think it was going to go that fast. I knew we were going to do it, but I thought it would take a couple of years at least. We just a couple of days longer than the first year, so it's really amazing. And just this morning as I'm running out, I see the S&P 500 hit 7,000 for the first time ever. So I say America is back. America is back. Since the election, the stock market has set 52 all-time record highs, adding $9 trillion in value. And $18 trillion of investment is pouring into the country. It's going to be higher than that. Just over 1 year ago, we were a country that lost its way. We were mocked and scorned, and every American child will now be and have access to something that is really incredible, and they can watch directly the economic boom that's taking place. This is a boom that's taking place, the likes of which we've really never seen. I don't think people, get it yet. Not a lot of people. They don't get it. They don't see the thousands of businesses being built, the hundreds and hundreds of massive factories that are going up all over. But they're going to start to see it. They're starting to see it. I mean, if they're modestly intelligent, if they're very intelligent, they saw it about a year ago. With us today is Craig Smith, a fourth-generation family farmer and volunteer firefighter from Culpeper, Virginia, along with his wonderful wife, Heather. Craig and Heather have an 18-month-old son and a 1-month-old that they also welcomed just recently, twin boys. And they can't wait to activate Trump accounts for all three of their children this July 4th. Craig and Heather, do you want to come up here, Craig and Heather? Where are you, Craig and Heather? Come on up, Craig and Heather, come on up. Come on up. It meant so much to them. People write letters. Every once in a while you get a letter, it just hits you. Craig and Heather, come on up. Thank you. That's great. Wow, look at this family, huh? They're a rich family now. The kids are richer than the parents. That's the way we want it. Thank you very much. Wow.
We just want to thank President Trump for all of his hard work and dedication to American families and farm families like ours. Farming is not always easy and sometimes margins are tight, so investments like this into our children really help us to buy diapers and formula and not have to worry about making financial decisions for them this early on. So thank you very much, President Trump.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. So nice. Also joining us today is the Goins family from Fayetteville, Arkansas. Charlie works in manufacturing, and he's here with his wife, Savannah, his high school sweetheart. In 2022, Charlie and Savannah opened their home to foster care, really expecting to take in one child, but soon they were taking in a family of 3 siblings and formally adopting them. A short time later, Charlie and Savannah also welcomed a biological daughter. Trump accounts will give each of these children a much better start in life. And Charlie and Savannah, where are you? Are you down there? Do you want to come up? Come on up here, Charlie, real fast. We're holding up a lot of big business people. We can't hold them up. Michael will take back his donation. Say what? I want my money back. Come on up here. These are great families, but there's millions and millions of families that are going to be so amazed and so happy at what's taken place. Sort of a miracle, I think. Nice to see you. How are you? How are you? Oh, look at that. So nice. Nice. How are you?
Thank you, President Trump, for having my family and me here today. My wife and I have spent the better part of our adult lives working to advance children in our community, and it was our faith that first led us to open our home to foster care, and it was God's plan that allowed us absolutely. And it was God's plan that allowed us to adopt 3 amazing children out of foster care, to welcome so many more, and of course, this past year, welcome our youngest daughter, Florence, into the world. It's through our experience that we've seen how opportunity, or the lack thereof, can really impact a child at the very beginning stages of their life before they even get a chance themselves. And that's why, my wife and I, along with some of the work that the First Lady is doing, we are working to help foster families, foster and adoptive families, and personally in our state with protections and support in our home state of Arkansas. Every child deserves hope, stability, and a strong chance at a strong future. And for young families, especially like ours, that your first priorities are, of course, your diapers and your wipes and your car seats and all that stuff. And so starting and investing into a investment account is not necessarily on the top of the priority list. And we're so thankful to have this. And I think this sends a powerful message that this administration believes that financial opportunity can start early, that it is intentional, and that it can impact every single family. And my wife and I are so excited that this administration has placed families and children like ours at the forefront of economic policy. And we're so excited for the future of the children and for this country. Thank you.
That's a great job. I was wondering how much longer he could. Did you notice it? It's getting heavy. It's still 50 pounds or something. Right? I said, how much longer is that? And finally, it broke loose. But you could see a loving father there, couldn't you? Huh? The way he did that, right? Wasn't that a loving father? I watched that. He was grabbing. That's a great family. Thank you very much, both. Beautiful. So in conclusion, the ultimate success of the Trump accounts will be measured not just in the wealth created. It will be seen in young people buying houses that they could never have even dreamed of buying. It'll be seen in diplomas earned, companies founded, families formed, and more babies born. It'll really be seen in something where you're given a chance. You're given a chance at life, a very good chance. Above all, the Trump accounts will help bring the hope and prosperity to every community that every community wants to see. And it'll bring back the American dream. The American dream is so beautiful. I would mention it all the time when I'm running. Whenever I run, I talk about the American dream because that's what we want to create. Others don't talk about it. But we have the American dream back, I think, now maybe better than ever before. For generations, Washington politicians have done nothing to take from the hardworking people of our country. They take and take. They do nothing but take. They've made workers' lives harder, sent prices higher, pushed your dreams out of reach. And both parties, they didn't do the job that they were supposed to do. Some were fighting, and sometimes we fight against some of the great politicians we have here. They fight with me, most of them, and we fight to make things better. But we run into walls of other politicians that either don't want to do something or they almost feel like it's a destruction of our country. But now we're doing something much better than giving the next generation a handout. We're giving them ownership of America's future so that they can grow up, chart their own destiny, and make our nation greater and stronger and better than ever before. So I just want to thank all of the people that participated today, the great business leaders, the great celebrities, and all of the people that are in this room. You've done so much. And I just want to also give a little bit of a shout out to a lot of great politicians that are right now voting on some very important measures, plus the politicians in this room. They have really worked hard on this. This is something that it's amazing that it got done. If you knew the political process, it was very complex, very hard to get done, to get all of those votes together. But we did it, and it's going to be great for America. And Brad and Michael, thank you both very much. Special, special people. Thank you very much. And God bless everybody in the room, and God bless America. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you. Thank you.